And we're back with the Concussion Protocol Podcast. We're going to be doing the preview and our predictions for Championship Week. How did we get here already, Chance? It feels like just yesterday we were doing not just the previews for games, we were doing the previews for the season. And now we're at Championship Week. We already know most of the playoff teams. How did we get here?
It's nuts. I don't know. It's all a blur.
It really is.
I can't remember the early season, to be honest.
I know. All I know is my hair was a lot shorter.
It was so long ago, and it was just like it was last week. It's crazy.
Dude, that's what sucks about the fall and the holiday season. All the football and all the fun stuff. You just burn through it, and then you're back into the next year just grinding away.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely sucks when, you get into like January, February, and you're like, oh, no football for 7 months.
No football.
Yeah, and then you just cling to trying to get recruits and this rumor about spring practice, how it went, and you cling on to that for months.
And highlights from the year.
Yeah. You know what I did? Okay, a little off subject. I'll only take 15 seconds. Sorry, Connor. I know I was going off tangents. I might have said this already. My favorite thing, especially what got me going this last year, was I would watch YouTube highlights of these black dudes who would watch the Colorado BYU game, and they would always go in because they were all these Colorado guys like, oh, man, we're going to watch Dion and Shadur and my guys, and they're going to bullywop, and we've been watching them all season. And then they start watching, and they're like, what is going on? And they're watching, they're like, how are these white dudes beating up our guys? The way they just commentate on it is so funny. It's like, BYU, who's this team? Who are the white guys beating up on us? And then one play, Isaiah Glasker, he in the game, he intercepted a ball and did the shuffle on Dion, and they were just like, who is this guy? How is he doing this? It's just, I don't know. It was so funny. That got me through an entire off season.
I think I did see a clip of that at some point where they're like, these white guys can play. Like, damn.
Oh.
That was a crazy game. That was a fun game to watch.
It was a good game. Wish it was
weird seeing that it was a Big 12 bowl game between two Big 12 teams, but it was a fun game to watch.
They were scared.
Maybe not for Colorado. Maybe not for Colorado.
Yeah. Anyway,
we're
back
here.
to it.
We're here. We made it. We are at Championship Week, and we got some picks for you. As we said in the previous episode, if you watched that one, our regular host Connor has opted out this week because he is still depressed from ASU losing to their rival last week.
Just like half the players who make mediocre bowl games, they opt out.
Yep, he opted out.
When prime time comes, they opt out.
He has entered the transfer portal for other podcasts. He is gone. He is simultaneously judging people for leaving their teams, and he is leaving. No, he'll be back. He'll be back next week. He's just got a busy week in his personal life and work. So, but he'll be back. We do have his picks here. I'll let you know what they are. They're not that great. I'm kidding. But here we go. Championship Week highlighted picks. Connor, you're supposed to get us music for that. Come on. Let's start with Conference USA, a rematch of I think it was 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Kennesaw State at Jackson State.
Do we know how they do their conference championship? Is it at Jackson State or is it at a neutral site?
I was wondering that myself. I think it's a neutral site game, but there are some conferences that do that.
I know Mountain West in the past I don't know if the Boise State field is supposed to be neutral site or if it was just a home game, but I've been to a championship game where Boise State played at their stadium. Read off Connor's thing and I'll look it up.
It says Jacksonville State earned the right to host. So it's at Jackson State.
Okay.
All right. Connor stays true to his previous pick in this game. He picks Jackson State to beat them for the second time this season. How do you feel, Chance?
Jacksonville State won the first time. It's actually Jacksonville State. But I don't think Kennesaw State was itself that game. And I am going off the word of Chase, the biggest Kennesaw State fan in this podcast, because he watches them every week. And he knows that's a better team than Jacksonville State. They were robbed, and they're not going to let it happen again. They are the true Conference USA champions. I'm going to go with Kennesaw State.
I respect it. I'm abandoning them.
I didn't think you were.
I watched a lot of their games, like I said in the previous couple episodes again. I watched a lot of their games this season on Wednesdays, like Chance said. And I watched the Kennesaw State-Jackson State game, and everything that could possibly go wrong for Kennesaw State went wrong. Kennesaw State's offense was absolutely just rolling down the field, just unimpeded. And then they get to the red zone, and their freshman quarterback will be like, here you go. You can have it, and just give it to them. And then Jackson State would take advantage of that, and they'd score. And Jackson State ran the ball better. They disappointed me greatly. I needed that game. I needed it. But everything that could go wrong went wrong. And the law of averages, as I've been quoting all season, swings back at some point. And Nick Saban even said, you never want to play the same team twice. So I know it's a road game again, but I'm taking Kennesaw State. Go Owls, baby. Oh, I'm surprised you went with me on that one.
Really? No.
Yeah,
you got after me. You told me they were the better team, and I trust your judgment.
Dude, I was really riding for this team. I was like, dude, their only real bad loss this season was, so they had Wake Forest one point, and then Indiana, who Indiana's been routing pretty much
both
everyone.
good teams.
So both good teams. I believe in this team. Anyway, on to the Sun Belt. Troy versus James Madison, a team that is fighting, begging for a chance at the playoffs. They have one loss against a Louisville team that a couple weeks ago was a playoff contender. A Louisville team that just demolished their rival Kentucky 40-0. And they held them. They held them that whole first half. It was a real close game. I think it ended 14-28, maybe 14-27. It wasn't as close as the end. It didn't look close in the end result, but they kept it really close. And it was truly because they had this stupid 2-quarterback system where they had the one guy come in to throw it and the other guy was just running the ball the whole time. And they've since moved away from that, and they've been rolling and dominating since then. So Troy is a reputable program. It's not really a dig at them. I just think this is James Madison's year in the G5. They look amazing. I'm taking James Madison. Go Dukes.
Yeah, I think for James Madison, the writing's not on the wall just because they have to win this game. They got to blow this game out of the water, because unless Duke wins, which we'll see, we'll get to that pick, there's only one G5 spot. And most people are going to give it to or think that the American deserves it. You got 2 ranked teams. Troy's not the caliber that North Texas or Tulane is. So James Madison has to absolutely just dog walk these guys to make a case for the playoffs. I think they come full throttle, and they beat them handily.
And Connor, who is not here, obviously, he also picked the Dukes. He said James Madison all the way. He was very emphatic in his very short text he sent. All right, we just talked about the other conference that will probably be getting the playoff bid. We'll see. It should be close. But the American Conference, North Texas versus Tulane. These are 2 solid programs. North Texas is playing amazing. They have 1 loss against a USF team. It was a blowout. It was not a good look for them, but USF looked amazing until those 2 games against Navy and Memphis that they choked away. But Tulane, on the other hand, they've had some ups and downs as well. They got blown out by Ole Miss. It makes sense. That's a playoff team. They beat Duke. They beat the ACC runner-up or possible ACC champion, and then they lost to University of Alabama at Birmingham after they fired their coach. Granted, there were some injuries, but nonetheless. How do we feel?
Well, first off, this game is in New Orleans, so we got to take that into consideration. The problem I'm having with this game is Tulane has got some ups and downs this season. They certainly have played some really good games and then some really bad games, and even like good halves and bad halves. It's the Jake Retzlaff experience. Do we know if their coach is going to be coaching or not? John Summerall.
I think he already took a press conference at
Florida.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't like, and this is going to be super hypocritical of me, given my situation. I don't love the idea of coaches not being there or present or having distractions during this week. Yeah, we're probably going to get to another situation about that. And they're going to need everything against North Texas because, yeah.
I just looked it up. He will be coaching.
He will be?
coaching.
Okay. Well, to what capacity? How is he going to be there, Because he's probably been a little distracted. How are his kids going to play knowing that he's not their coach or what the future is going to hold, yada, yada, yada. I still think that they try, and he's going to try not to, especially the kids, maybe not him as much, or I think he's going to try, but he's got a lot on his mind.
It says he will also coach the playoffs if he makes it, so they do have something to play for.
Okay. Well, that's good. And good on Tulane for letting him do that. He got him there. He put in some good years. They probably don't have much to lose. So, yeah, give it to him. I still like North Texas for some reason. Tulane has to keep up with them offensively. Defensively, North Texas is probably going to give a lot to Tulane. But offensively, North Texas is going to just score and score and score. So Tulane just makes too many mistakes with Retzlaff at the lead that those mistakes are going to make the difference in the points scored. So give me North Texas.
That is very fair because, okay, first retraction. I confused Memphis with Tulane. They didn't lose to University of Alabama at Birmingham. They lost to UTSA in a blowout. That's my bad. Brain fart. But nonetheless, that was a second game of the year that Jake Retzlaff got benched. And that is when we heard from his burner account in the comments. And after what Chance just said and what Connor is saying, Connor is picking North Texas in this game as well. We might be hearing from his burner again. It could be pregame. It could be at halftime. It could be at the end of the game. We will see. We'd love to hear from you, Jake. We'll always have last year.
You're always number one in our hearts. I do like the guy. I have nothing against him. I like him as his personality, his being. Great dude. Just as a football player, I don't trust him. He has super high ceiling, but the floor is lose to Kansas and cost you the playoffs.
That is true. It is. It's really hard to. This one's honestly a bit harder than I would have thought. But North Texas's offense is amazing to watch. It's super fun. The only team that has absolutely bottlenecked it was USF's, and they bottlenecked it. They crushed them in the second half. It was a blowout. It wasn't even close. Their quarterback is it Mustamaker, correct?
Mustamaker.
Yep. He's the 0-star recruit that didn't even play in high school, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. It's hard to say that I think that this would be an amazing story. This would be like Brock Purdy being Mr. Irrelevant going to the Super Bowl for the 49ers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That would be an amazing thing to see, is that's a kid that never even got a chance in high school, gets his chance here, makes the playoffs.
How does that even happen?
Crazy. Oh.
First off, like, is it discredit to their high school coaches where it's like those high school coaches are idiots for not letting him play? Or is it credit to this coaching staff for like, hey, you're undersized, you have this wrong, let's work with you. You have the potential, and then turn them into that. Like, what is it? Is it a combination of both? Whatever it is, it's incredible.
Yeah, maybe he just wasn't as committed back then. I don't know. Like it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions. I'd have to know more about his recruitment process and how he was in high school.
I did hear that like he was small and there were flashes of potential, I guess, but his body just wasn't right. Like he was really small, and I guess he just like worked really hard at it, and the coaches saw it. That's kind of what I hear. Which would be a cool story of somebody being like, "Hey, water boy over here, you pump some iron? I really see it. Did you see that spiral you threw in the warm up to our QB, warming him up? I see some potential. Let's go to college." That would be crazy. And how do you even find a dude like that and just point it out? The head coach, I can't remember his name. I should know it. In North Texas, that's what he does apparently. Is he finds that random QB and he's a guru at it. So credit to him if that's the case.
Yeah. Well, you did say, how does this happen, Chance? How does this happen? I don't think it does, is the thing. I'm going with the green wave. I'm taking Tulane. I bounced on this team in the Duke pick. I believed in them, and then I was like, oh, I don't know. And I switched, and I was proven wrong. I'd be wrong. I'd be absolutely discrediting the state of Louisiana to not pick Tulane in this game. They've been there, done that in the American Conference. They're always something special in that conference. So I'm riding with the wave. Let's get it. But Jake,
he's got to play.
Come on, man. You could really, like, could you just imagine? You could rub it in BYU's face, making the playoffs.
Made the playoffs and they didn't.
Tulane and BYU gets bounced because of some bogus committee. Just crap.
Or, hear me out, they play in the first round.
That's must-watch television.
If BYU wins, they have to jump up to home field advantage, you'd think, right?
You would hope, but
And then, hey, Tulane there. If Tulane's maybe the 11th seed, 12th seed, probably not 12, but maybe if you stretch the 11th seed, there's 2 G5s.
that would be must watch.
That would be crazy.
That'd be a crazy game to see. I'd love to see it, but we'll see. You got to beat North Texas, and that's probably one of the best offenses in the nation right now. So we'll see if Mustamaker gets poached very soon. So he's looking great. All right, on to the Mountain West. How did this end up being the matchup? How did we not know until Sunday who the game was going to be? That's
What
so
did these
wrong.
computers look like? Why
Yeah.
did they pick these two teams?
Do I have?
I want to know the answers to these.
Is this the first generation Macintosh that they're using to program these? Like, what are we doing? All right. Well, I'll start off with Connor. Connor is not a Boise State fan, but he lives in Boise, and he would get absolutely destroyed if he picked against them. And also, he hates UNLV. He hates Dan Mullen. He hates UNLV. He makes it very known every week. He thinks they're a joke. He questions their leadership and their the way they look and the way their vibes. He hates everything about UNLV and Dan Mullen. So he picked Boise State to win this game. It's all vibes. They don't pass the eye test.
By the way, Connor has rubbed it in my face the whole season. I've said to me continually when I say, you got to throw some logic. You can't just be vibes. And he points scoreboard to me. Guess who's up now? Huh? Guess logic does be vibes.
Chances ahead.
I hope you edit this, Connor.
He said, we made it. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Every single week I've been complaining to you, Chase, that I need to catch up, so he can't say that anymore. And finally, I'll probably blow the lead the last week, but still, logic may prevail. Well, I'll start on this one. Since we know Connor's picking Boise State. I don't know if Connor knows this or not. Max Madsen, he's back. I don't know how. He was supposed to be out for the season. Guess he avoided surgery. He's back. This is going to be his first game. He's been doing some practices. He is a noticeable upgrade. So that is good.
Dude, the same thing happened with Bo Prabula on Mizzou. Like, I thought he was out for the season, and he shows up one day, and you're like, what?
Yeah. How is this happening? Like, is there some sort of like magic pill that they're giving? By the way, I saw this video. I think it was a basketball player that he had an interview, and they're like, "Hey, how did you perform so well? How did you jump back?" And the guy's like, "Oh man, the coaches gave me these pills, and I just felt great and had some energy and was able to pull it out." And it's like, you're not supposed to say that part. He actually just told them, he's like, yeah, these pills worked great, man. They injected something into me and I just felt great. Anyway, I don't know what they're doing, but it's got to be some weird voodoo because these guys aren't supposed to come back. Boise State blew out UNLV the first time. Since then, they have not looked good. They barely scraped by Utah State, a very, very average Mountain West Conference team, which is not a good conference, which means they're not a good team. Barely scraped by. They've been blown out by many teams. Man, I don't trust UNLV, and Boise State beat them. It's going to be at Boise State. Somehow I trust UNLV more though, and I'm going to pick UNLV. Yeah, I just bringing back. Usually when you bring back a QB that early, here's another one who came back really early, mysteriously, is Mateer.
John Mateer.
What does he look like since he came back? Right? I don't trust that Maddox is going to come back and just blow it away. I think he's going to have trouble, and that's what UNLV needs. So, Calandria's been lights out. Hopefully, he'll show up one more game.
Those are fair points. What was his injury anyway? I forget what it was. It was a leg injury, I thought, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
So he doesn't have a hole in his hand?
No, but apparently you can still play with the hole in your hand.
Not very well. But I picked UNLV last time. I will not be making that mistake again.
All right.
I also, at the same time, I also picked Boise State to beat San Diego State, and that did not go well either. So we never know. I think with Maddox, they should be fine, especially at home. They did lose at home to to who they lose to? Crap. They lost in a blowout to Fresno State. Fresno State.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of up and downs with this Boise State team, but I feel like it would be so Boise State of them to lose 4 games this season, not really deserve to be in it, somehow get in, and somehow still win the conference right before they depart for the Pac-12. I just feel like that would be a very Boise State thing for them to do. So I'm going to take Boise State as well.
That's right. This is Mountain West versus Pac.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. What is the Mountain West going to do? They're just going to have like 4 teams next season. I
They've
guess I
been
can.
recruiting like North Texas oh wait, North Texas goes to Pac-12, don't they? I don't know. It's so crazy to me that they're gonna split a mediocre conference to be 2 mediocre conferences.
Yeah, especially with how Washington State and Oregon State look. Like it's probably not going to help their recruiting any better either. So
By the way, it ended in a tie, 1-1. The Pac-12,
yeah,
Pac-2.
yeah, I'm surprised Washington State finally figured out how to beat Oregon State. That is
Man,
crazy. Last year, not winning the conference, even though they were like 9-3, and they lost to a 5-7 Oregon State. Anyway, Maction, let's get it. Miami, Ohio at Western Michigan. I gotta say, a couple weeks ago, these are not the teams I saw being in this. These are not the teams I saw being in this. Western Michigan, they've been looking pretty good. Miami, Ohio lost a couple games there that I thought were totally gonna oust them from it, and they're in it. They're in it. Kudos to them.
yeah.
To start, Connor. Connor doesn't believe in Michigan teams anymore. He watched that Ohio State Michigan game and said, "This just must spread through the whole state. I don't trust Western Michigan." He picked Miami, Ohio. I, on the other hand, am stubborn. I'm stubborn, and I'm sticking with Western Michigan. Let's go. I don't trust Miami, Ohio. They got outperformed by Ohio, their counterparts. I don't think. I'm really surprised to see that they made this game, but they made it. They have a chance here. I think this is I think the spread on this game is 2.5. So either team could take this game, but I'm rocking with Western Michigan.
Yeah, it's probably a toss-up. I mean, Miami, Ohio did win at their place earlier this year. So
Okay.
that, and I mean, there has been times that Western Michigan has looked less than optimal with losing 38-0 to Illinois. They lost 23 to Michigan State, but they do have some good games. They beat Ohio. They're not going to be playing at Miami of Ohio, so that's good. They kept it close to North Texas, 33-30. So,
Mhm.
when it comes to a close game, throw your money on the home team. So I'm going to throw it on Western Michigan.
All right, there goes our not so speed option. We get distracted easily. Sorry. Anyway, okay, let's start. Let's just start with the conference that might not even get a bid. This will be the last game of the day. It's the latest game in the day. ACC Championship. One of us is rocking one of their shirts, but probably isn't rocking with them. But we'll see. Duke versus Virginia.
Whole season, I've had to go through a roller coaster. The whole season. And I made a comment maybe an hour ago to you, Connor, or not Connor, Chase. And I said, how do you do it? How are you a fan of this team? Talking about LSU. And now I'm going to ask you, Duke fans, how are you a fan? How do you stick through what this team, what this program does to you? It is insanity what they have to go through in any given game, any given moment, any given quarter possession. I mean, you can watch Mensah just rip through a defense and then all of a sudden fumble on the 1-yard line and give up a touchdown. I don't get it. And then like last week, they reversed Duked. Wake Forest killed themselves. Duke didn't even do it this time. Man, Duke actually has the potential to win this game. Flat out, I'm telling you right now, Chase, Duke has the potential to win this game. If they fired on all cylinders, if they didn't pull out crap, Mensah regains his form, they can win this game. These two teams have already played, though. Virginia dog walked them. Virginia's looked pretty good the last couple weeks. They've had some not so good moments this season, but I mean, last week they looked incredible. Their QB is electric. He's got some moxie to him. Transferred from Texas, by the way. I didn't know that until last week. I'm going with Virginia. And everybody, again, should be praying that Virginia does it, because if not, ACC is imploding immediately. By the way, terrible to put this as the last game. There's going to be a lot of teams waiting to see if they make the playoffs, waiting on the result of this. That sucks.
It would. It's weird that that's the last game too, because it's the East Coast game. Like you'd think they would have put the Big 12 game there or something.
But I mean, drama coming the last minute, that is kind of fun at the same time.
Man, dude. Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't cheering for Duke. I was cheering against Duke all year. And I got the same experience. It's so stupid. This team is so inconsistent. It's like you don't want to be involved with this team as a fan or as a hater. Like you don't want to be involved with this team at all. You want to ignore their existence because they're so inconsistent. How do you get destroyed by Illinois and lose to UConn and lose to Tulane and then make this game and win in a blowout against Wake Forest, who was only a 3-loss team at the time, beat albeit struggling Clemson team, beat them, come back, beat them on the road. How do you do this? What is wrong with you guys? And to your point, Chance, I don't know. You said, how do your fans do this? I don't think they do. Have you seen their home games? There's not that many fans. There's not that many fans in the stands.
How many do you think show up to the championship game? Because, like, what does the championship game mean to them? It doesn't mean a playoff berth. That is the crazy thing. You're going into a P4 game, and you're the team that you're like, we don't have any shot at making the playoffs. Why are we even here?
They need to print off shirts that just say pure anarchy. Just wear that there, because that's what that is if Duke wins this game. And you're correct, dude. If we get the bright side of Duke, the one that's firing on all cylinders, Duke can easily win this game. But did they just spend it on Wake Forest? I feel like they're that coin flip team. It's like which Duke you're gonna get, and they just wasted their one on Wake Forest because they blew them out. They dominated. Wake Forest started coming back. There were some questionable calls, not enough to change the way the game ended, obviously, towards the end of it. But Duke, did you waste all your gas on this game to make it?
I need everybody in the chat right now and tell them that that's not how probability works. You can still get 2 heads in a row. Come on.
You can, or you cannot.
If you get the first heads, it's the same probability that you get the heads twice.
Yeah, but if it's heads, there's a slightly higher chance of getting tails. Yeah, I think it's a percentage point, but it's literally like a 0.05 or something % chance that tails comes more. That's why you see a lot more kickoffs. People pick tails because there's a slight better chance for some reason.
I've never heard this.
I don't know if it's the coin or some shit. I have no idea, but there's like a slight, just weird, I guess, for error, I guess. I have no idea. It's supposed to be the most 50-50 thing ever, but for some reason, tails. But so if heads is Duke do good and tails is Duke do.
Hey, you got a little bit more chance.
I'm picking heads Duke do bad, so go Virginia. But at the same time, Virginia, like you said, they've been looking really strong. They obviously had that choke game a couple weeks ago, but they've been looking really good. Really, I know their claim to fame was that Florida State game earlier in the season, but they've just looked standoutish from this conference. Not like a team that's going to go far in the playoffs, but like a team that the only team in the conference that I think could steal a game outside of Miami. But
coincidentally, the last team to get in a conference championship that felt like they were just frauds, didn't belong there, was Virginia many years ago when they had that crazy schedule to get them in. And now it's full circle. They're the ones that belong. Let's crush Duke.
And for the clean sweep, that is what Connor picked as well. He picked Virginia. Part of me really wants to see the chaos. I don't want to see 2 mega conferences. That would be disgusting. But
if that wasn't on the line, I would definitely want to see the chaos because that would be fun. To see a 7-5 team just defy all expectations. But again, I just worry if the ACC and maybe the playoff committee, they're like, oh, shoot, we need to put in Miami. Maybe that's the reason why they put in Miami. I don't know. But if the ACC does not get a playoff team, oh my gosh, again, then we're toast. And coincidentally, it's going to be these big programs that sucked. The Florida States, the Clemsons that are going to want to break it up because they don't get playoff picks, but they're the ones who ruined it for the conference.
All right. Number 1 versus number 2 in the Big Ten championship game. The Indiana Hoosiers playing the defending championship Ohio State Buckeyes. The Ohio State Buckeyes.
That was so disrespectful, Chase.
I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. You snowflakes. Anyway,
how does Ohio come up? Are they like we're We're them Bobcats.
Yeah.
We're some of those Ohio Bobcats.
You show those Bobcats, Ohio State. You show them.
We're the Ohio State. You don't get us confused with those Bobcats.
They've made their money punching down at bad programs in their conference their entire career, so they're used to it. Anyway, before I start a fire in Columbus that leads all the way to the state that I live in that I will not disclose at this moment.
By the way, he lives at 3233 South Sunnyvale in Tucson, Arizona.
Whoever's house that is, it's going to get burned down. It's going to be your fault. It's going to be your fault. Oh, man.
Hey, at least I sent him to an Arizona fan.
Connor will respect that, even though it might be decimating a family. More drama for the week, but all right. Back to football. Indiana at Ohio State. How you feeling here, Chance?
Clueless, because both teams look really good. They haven't shown cracks. I'm excited to find out who's real out of these two teams. That finally we get some competition. We get to find out who's real. You know, man, I'll be honest, Chase. I can name so many players for Ohio State. I can name wide receivers. I can QBs. I can use tight ends, safeties, corners, you name it. I can't do that with Indiana. I don't know if that's a bad thing necessarily. Ohio State has the star power, but Indiana, just make it click. They're well coached. They believe in each other. They play well. Certainly, I know one name, and that's Mendoza. They believe. They believe. Ohio State can't do it all the time, can they? They can't win every game. They can't win every championship, right? This might be a gut call, and I think whoever picks whatever team, it's got to be a gut call because both teams look fantastic. Both teams are blowing teams out of the water. This is going to be a Connor, but I really, really want Indiana to win. So I'm going to pick Indiana.
Manifest, dude. Ohio State fans, that might not seem like much, but this dude has been jinxing and hexing the teams that he votes against all season. There has been some black magic going on.
Duke made the ACC championship game, guys.
We called Duke to make the ACC championship. So I know you've had a dominant season and it looks like everything's in your corner, but if Chance is picking against you,
you should be scared.
This is not a good sign. The only thing that can make it worse is if we made this a hot take, because then it's just a guaranteed Indiana wins for some reason. So, oh man, we should just do it for the memes at that point. But unfortunately, we couldn't even hot take because our other host isn't here and he picked Indiana as well. So he probably saw the eye showing behind the waterfall that spread apart to show I and W or whatever he said when Indiana beat Oregon. Whatever he said. So
he did call that.
He did call that.
That was one of his best calls of the season.
That was what's funny is that's one of the few calls that he actually picked the underdog, quote unquote. The other ones where he picked the underdog, it was always against Alabama and it didn't go his way. So
no. Yeah, he has so many of those vibes, and most of the vibes are I hate you, so I'm picking against you.
I'm not picking USC.
Right. But for some reason he just loves Indiana. Before anybody knew that they were Indiana, he just loved them. And he was right. I'd give him credit. He was right.
Guys, I would love to go all vibes with you guys. I would love to. And there's nothing I would love to see more than an Indiana win in this. But I feel like the only way Ohio State can lose is if I pick them. So I'm picking Ohio State.
All right, do it for us. There you go.
I have to do it. I have to make the sacrifice, you know? Also, I'm behind, so if they win, I need this. Ohio State will win this game. Unfortunate for everyone outside of the state of Ohio. I would much rather see them lose. But they're a strong team. They've shown no weaknesses, really. Indiana has shown a couple weaknesses on the road against Penn State and some other teams. They have squeaked out some victories. Yeah, Iowa. Those are good. Those are great defenses, though. Penn State has a good defense, and I feel like that was their dying breath. They're like, we can upset this team. I think it spoke more to the will and the talent that was left on that team after they fired James Franklin, to be fair. But Mendoza did not play good in that game, so he's shown weakness, and this week he can't. He cannot show weakness against this Ohio State team. He can't do that unless Sayan shows more weakness, which hasn't statistically been there. But
he hasn't done that. He's looked perfect.
But at the same time, he has not played any good defenses outside of Michigan. outside of Michigan. Like
Yeah.
Texas, you could say they're a good defense, and that was a struggle fest for both teams in the first game of the season. Texas is a good defense. I don't think they were playing that great of defense. It was more so both quarterbacks were just not playing that well.
I would love to see as well how Ohio State's offensive line holds up. 'Cause that was the question before the beginning of the season. They haven't really been tested. I don't know if they're going to get tested here or not, but I'd love to see if they do.
Yeah, they referenced that in the Michigan game a lot. They're like, "Oh, the flack this Ohio State offense, the offensive line has gotten." I was like, in Ohio or mainstream? Because I've heard nothing about this. It's all been positive vibes all the way for this team. So I haven't heard a negative thing about this team all year. But not that the whole team's perfect. You can't have that anywhere. You know, other teams are going to steal prospects, but they're a complete team. And unfortunately, they are poised probably to win this game and make a run, but we'll see.
That's a good story. Yeah, that's a good story.
It would be awesome to see that
everybody should be rooting for them.
To see today, Junior, to see Indiana win this game after signing Signetti to that massive contract would be so great to see. You absolutely got to cheer for this team. You got to. If you're not an Ohio State fan, a boring, annoying Ohio State fan, you got to cheer for this Indiana squad. All right. The conference that those two teams and everyone in that conference hate, the SEC. After all of this randomness and weird stuff that happened in the SEC this year, it still ends up being a match between Alabama and Georgia.
Why not?
Thanks a lot, A&M. Thanks a lot, Texas. Thanks a lot, Vandy, all you guys choking games, and Ole Miss for losing by what a couple, not that much to Georgia on the road. That one loss kicked you out completely. And we could have gotten something.
Actually beating Georgia.
Yeah. All that, and we get a classic Georgia at Alabama rematch. Well, to start, Connor has been notorious all year to pick against Alabama. This was the first week he picked Alabama the whole year, guys. He picked
Alabama.
He picked this first week. Last week in the Iron Bowl was the first week in our highlighted picks that he picked Bama over Auburn. The other weeks when they played Tennessee, he picked Tennessee. When he played Vandy, he picked Vandy. When they played the only time he's been right in an Alabama game, because he did pick Alabama against Oklahoma, and that didn't go his way. He is 0-4. He is now 1-4 in Alabama picks this year. So I guess that should make you Crimson Tide fans feel good that he is picking you guys. He's picking you guys. He has been terrible at picking for your team, and he is picking the Alabama Crimson Tide to win the SEC and beat Georgia again.
What did he see last week that he liked?
You could say the same for Georgia.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I was about to say same thing for Georgia.
I think he's riding with the fact that Bama's had Georgia's number. They've just had their number for a long time. And that's a fair point. That's a really fair point. But they've kept it close. Georgia has been inching closer. There's been cracks they've been cracks in both teams. The question really for Georgia, is their offensive line going to be healthy? Are they going to have their starters there? They had three offensive linemen injured in that Georgia Tech game, and that's why Georgia Tech's pass rush was getting to them so much. Was not a good look for them. They did not look nearly as good with that offensive line being so dinged up. Can these guys show back up for this game against a much, much better defense than Georgia Tech? That's crazy. I don't know. I need a moment, Chance. You go.
You need a moment? All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at these guys' schedules and like how they've been performing. And if you take away their extra bye week, both of them really been struggling. I mean, you look at Auburn, they squeaked by. Then Alabama loses to Oklahoma. Alabama squeaks by LSU, squeaks by South Carolina. And then finally you get Tennessee. They win pretty well and then squeaks by Missouri again. So they did have a dominant win against Tennessee, but I don't know how impressive that really is. And then they had a dominant win against Vanderbilt. So I'll give them those two. But I mean, they've had a battle. And then you look at Georgia and a battle against Georgia Tech. Charlotte, we don't count that. They did blow out Texas. But then Mississippi State kept a little close. They did pull away. Florida was close. Close game against Ole Miss. That's okay. Auburn, a close game. So, and Tennessee earlier in the year, close game. So again, cracks. Both teams have cracks. Last time these two guys played, you know who played terrible was Gunnar Stockton. He did not play well. Georgia barely lost. If he plays at least any better, and I get they're not at home, it's going to be a neutral site, but I don't know that there's something about me wanting, again, I want Georgia to win. And I think I've seen more cracks in Alabama, especially since they were capable of losing to a Florida State team. Not even losing, but they got walked by Florida State too. And Georgia looked really impressive in that Texas win. Really impressive. I think they've kind of pulled something together. Last week was weird. It might depend on their offensive line coming back, but if Gunnar Stockton can play a better game, manage it better, I think they can actually pull it out and win. So I'm going with the Dogs.
Some people would call you insane for that. And the trend is not in Georgia.
Hey, I picked Ohio State, who hadn't won since 2016.
Yep. That's a very different story. But you're not wrong there. I think the stats, what was it? 9 of the last, I think it's 10 of the last 11 matchups have been Alabama beats Georgia. And those include championship games, SEC championship games, road games, home games. Yeah, I could spend days thinking about this, and I don't think I would be able to come to a conclusion.
It's a tough game.
This is a tough game. It comes into that gambler's mentality right there. My number's going to hit. It's been so long since it's hit, right? Georgia hasn't won this game in forever, so it's got to be coming soon, right? But is that just your brain lying to you because you want it so bad?
Yeah.
It really, that O-line is going to matter so much. They need those guys back and healthy. If those guys are back, Bama has been cracking. That was a really bad performance they put on against Auburn. That was a really bad performance they put on against LSU. That was at home against a crumbling LSU team. I think LSU could have won that game if some things went their way. Like, it was not. They should have destroyed them. Last year, they blew us out in Baton Rouge. And this year, they couldn't do that. Their team is way better than last year. I don't understand. It didn't make any sense. It really doesn't. Alabama's running game is atrocious. Georgia's is better. I think Georgia's defense is a little less good than Alabama. Alabama's got arguably a top 11.
Top 11. Why'd you shut it down there? Efficiency show top 7.
Total yards 11. Thanks, Auburn.
S&P plus top 8.
I don't know what anagram you're using there, but man, all right, I've strung it along for long enough. I'm picking the Dogs. Go Dogs. Sick them. You gotta at some point, man. You gotta.
Gotta happen.
Gotta happen. It would be lovely to see that happen. And then if the committee actually punishes them, that'd be crazy. Anyway, now the moment we've all been waiting for, the moment that Chance has waited for his entire life, probably.
The moment coaches have been waiting for to leave the program.
Kalani Sitake, what are we doing? Oh, the Big 12 championship. Can the Big 12 get 2 bids, or will Texas Tech ruin that for everyone and just do what they've been doing the last few weeks, and that's just blowing every team out? BYU versus Texas Tech in a rematch. Neutral field. Can BYU do it, Chance? Can they do it?
Can they do it? Well, one of the things, and again, this isn't an answer I love to hear, but one of the things that they pointed to that they needed to do better at against Tech in the first game was crowd control. They said that they let the crowd dictate the game. It's in Arlington. The BYU fans show out. So I expect at least half to be BYU fans. I expect Texas Tech to show out too. Ticket distribution is typically half and half unless there's not as much interest. I think it's going to be a crazy crowd, but it's not all going to be Texas Tech fans. That's going to help. That's a factor that they said played a big part. Again, I don't like that answer because if you're a good team, you're ready for that. If it comes to the playoffs and you're saying that that's a factor in the game, I don't like that answer. But they said that, and I believe it. Freshman QB, maybe the loudest environment that he's been in so far. I can see it. Hopefully he's learned his lesson, but not as much a factor this time. Something BYU has really struggled with. The quarterback that has had the most usage, the running back that has had most usage in the whole country is LJ Martin. It's because there is such a noticeable difference between him and the backup. And it's because we've had injuries. Well, we got our guy back. So, Sione Moa, I don't know what condition he's going to be in, but I know having him back is a lot better than the other results. So, that helps. You got JoJo Phillips a couple weeks back. That helps as well. Hold on, I'm going to look up and see if Chase Roberts is still injured. He was injured last game. He's their number one receiver. Okay. We don't know still, I don't think. He's a game time decision. Oh, that was on 2 days ago. I think he'll be back. I think they were reserving him. He'll be back. So you got full receiving core. That was JoJo Phillips' first game back. He wasn't 100%. Hopefully they'll figure it out by then. You got couple people like Justin Kirkland. I mean, they're actually going to be BYU at full force, maybe the first time in a very long time. So there's positive things going into this game. And I think that game that they played against Tech was their floor. I think their ceiling was the TCU game. So the question is, does a regular or ceiling game beat Tech? I don't know. That team's freaking good. I'm not going to lie. Jacob Rodriguez haunts my dreams every single night, dude. I think he haunts all BYU's dreams and hopes and ambitions. That guy's a monster. The defense held up. If the offense was able to do anything against Tech that game, the defense did its part. And I think, again, the defense is doing its part, is going to do its part because I worry about Tech's offense going into the playoffs. I think that the numbers are a little inflated. They're not as good as maybe the numbers say, or maybe the eye test for me says that's their. It's not a weakness per se, but it's the weak part of their team because the defense is legit. It's real. It's scary. So if BYU can find those plays, they review film, they get in there. I think they do have a chance. Again, not being a true road game and everything, they hit their ceiling. They have a chance. How distracted are they right now? I'm a fan and I'm freaking distracted. I forgot that we've got a conference game because I'm distracted on if I'm going to have a coach moving forward. And I know he's saying all the right things and he's trying to say that's what matters right now, the conference game. But I mean, and I think he'd be honest in saying this, that they're doing their best to navigate around it. It's a real thing that happens. It happens when you have a good team, you have a good coach, but it's an obvious distraction. It's got to affect them a little bit. So it's going to be tough. I'm a homer, so I'm going to pick BYU because of that. I am scared. It's our only chance to get in the playoffs. Texas Tech, that's one thing that BYU has. Texas Tech does not need this to get in the playoffs. I think they get in regardless, and maybe that's the advantage in what BYU uses. BYU can't have silly turnovers like punt fumbles. Parker Kingston, please don't do that again. He just had a punt return touchdown last week, but he fumbles them all half the time, and then half the time he returns it for touchdowns. If BYU can get some big plays, if they can get them early, I do think that they have a chance. I don't think that they're going to get mollywopped like last time. Do they keep it within 2, 3, 4, 5 points? I don't know, but I'm a homer, so I'm going to pick them. I believe.
I respect it.
I'm scared, but I believe.
I respect it. And for reference, Connor respects it too. He picked BYU in the rematch.
Dude, I have no idea what he's doing, why he picks the way he does.
I don't know, dude. I mean, I think he flips.
You know what the spread is in this game?
What is it?
13.5 points.
That's disrespectful. Connor picked BYU. You picked BYU, understandably. Last time I picked BYU.
Yeah. I was surprised when you guys picked BYU the first time.
I believed in the team, you know. I know that the beginning of their schedule was very lackluster. It was weak. But they, like you said, they needed it. They had a freshman quarterback, obviously, with all the offseason stuff with Jake Retzlaff and all that. They needed that time to build him up, get him some reps, get him some experience. And I think he has improved a lot this season.
He has.
He definitely has. I know Jake Retzlaff's burner account was arguing with me in the comments saying that Jake would be so much better. I don't think he would be. There might be some games where he would outperform him stats-wise, but I think he would have lost them more games too. So I think Bear is like a perfect fit for this team right now. I mean, he makes, for the most part, he makes the right decisions. When the pocket's collapsing, he says, I'm not fumbling this ball. He fullbacks it, gets the ball, and runs. You know, he doesn't get that many yards. Texas Tech has amazing linebackers. Obviously, they can plug up the middle.
The front, too, the defensive front looks good.
Yeah. Whoops. Sorry. Bear is going to have to make some plays with his arm. He's not going to be able to get away with that running up the middle. As much as it's really helped against some other teams like Arizona, who had a great defense too, but their weakness was runs, and running up the middle with a fullback caliber quarterback is a run. So I believed in this team before the Texas Tech game. I wasn't able to watch it. Thanks to Disney and ESPN. Thank you so much. I'm glad that's resolved now, but still, thanks for doing that in the middle of the season. But that I can't fall for it twice. I can't do it twice. I think, and honestly, at this point, I hope that Texas Tech is so legit that they are just going to run through this playoffs. I would love to see it. I would love to see a Big 12 team get the respect so that they can actually not be so prejudiced against this conference every year and be like, you get one team. You get one team. Even when the ACC is possibly not going to get a team at all, you're still going to just give one team to the Big 12. It's a joke. I hope that Texas Tech changes that. I hope BYU plays it close. I really do. I hope it turns out just like I said in the last episode. I hope it turns out like SMU Clemson, where it happens within 3 points. And because of that, the committee says both these teams deserve this, and they put them both in. I hope that's how it goes. There's a lot more teams fight for bids than last year. Last year, there was about like 3-ish teams that got left out, quote unquote. They were all SEC teams. It was.
You respectful. You just talk about BYU that way, and then you didn't even have a chance.
Okay, Chance believes there was 4 teams with the 2. There's a very distinct difference between a 2-loss BYU team this year to Texas Tech and Texas Tech versus a BYU that lost last year to ASU. Not a bad loss, but Kansas. That one was bad.
The Texas lose to Florida and still get in?
Texas does not deserve that. I could spend 30 minutes telling you how much, and I defend the SEC, but Texas, I don't. First of all, they have not earned SEC privileges from me, first of all. Second of all, dude, Texas last season didn't play anybody in their conference schedule. They avoided all the good teams. The only team they played was Georgia, and they got destroyed at home.
They lost. So they lost to a top. You're telling me they lost to a top 4 team twice, and they still got in?
Yes.
Interesting. Well, BYU might have that same fate.
Well, that's what I'm saying is it's different. It's a 2-loss to the same team, a great team, versus what Texas is at right now, which is 3 losses. Or
I'm
last
just saying
year,
that Texas made it in last year in a similar scenario. Granted, they played in the SEC, but they played bottom feeders.
They did.
They got
they have a very as much flack as they gave A&M for theirs. Texas had the same thing last season.
Right.
And everybody talks about, Texas was the runner-up in the SEC. I was like, yeah, because they ran through Kentucky and Mississippi State, and they didn't play. They avoided LSU. They avoided Alabama. They're avoiding all the good teams. So they didn't even play Tennessee. So, but
it's a sad fate, and BYU might end up going to the Alamo Bowl or the Pop-Tarts Bowl. They'll blow out 7-4 Louisville or something like that, and then
they should put them against Vandy.
That would be a fun game, but no, they don't do that. They'll schedule them against a Big 12 team. We'll play. We'll probably play Houston in the Alamo Bowl,
in the Cougar Bowl. I think BYU destroy Houston. Houston pisses me off. But to officially put the pick, I picked Texas Tech. I'm sorry, guys. I've seen it. I can't pick them again. They've lost me points, and I'm behind. I got to pick the Red Raiders. I hope that the Red Raiders are just so good that they dominate the playoffs at this point.
I legit wonder if Texas Tech is the best team in the country.
They could be.
I think they're one of the 4 teams that I confidently think could make it and win it.
I agree. All right. Well, we thought Connor was adding time, but we had a lot to talk about today.
Apparently, he was the one who was keeping us from.
Apparently, he was making us shut up. So, kudos to you, Connor. I think we just had more to talk about this week. There's a lot of playoff implications, all the coaching carousel, a lot of yada, yada, yada. But this has been the Concussion Protocol Podcast. Please, we appreciate all the likes, subscribes, comments, shares, all the things we've been getting on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Instagram, not so much, but YouTube, we've been getting a lot of viewership. We had 3 shorts with over 1,000 views. TikTok, we had a 2,600 view, a 2,000 view, and a couple thousand views. So we've been doing really great there. We appreciate your support on all platforms, even if some of it is kind of a petty hate support that you're bookmarking it just to say I told you so. We appreciate that too. Even if I'm leaving memes on your comments we appreciate that. Please like, subscribe, comment. We need the support. We appreciate the support.
You know what's a good idea? Every
What?
Ohio State fan should subscribe so that they know exactly when every video comes up and they can talk trash about us. Do it.
Exactly.
Subscribe to know when you can talk to us.
Yep, you can rub my big ass nose in it when you do what you said you're going to do all year. So I know a couple will do it anyway, but we appreciate the support. We're trying to advertise for the little brothers of college football. We're trying to get more viewership and more support to these teams, and we appreciate any support you guys are willing to give us. So thank you so much. We'll see you next time. I'm Chase. This is Chance signing off.